engagement. That's the word. I feel like video games should engage, and if a game successfully fully engages you, I think then you're immersed, right? Like you're one-to-one with its rule sets, you're one-to-one with its emotions. Yeah, Moyo, thanks, man. Maybe you heard me say it before. But the emotion it's trying to create, or the emotion it allows you to create, you know, it's you know, you're not at all disengaged. It's kind of like lighting up every area of the mind. It's pulling at the heart. It's getting what senses it can get, and maybe just discarding the other ones. Like you fully engaged someone. And so when you fully engage someone, that's immersive, but that varies by people, right? Like, speaking about Elder Scrolls, right? Like, when we did Morrowind, and some people are like, wow, you can, like, enjoy these old graphics. And it's like, it's pretty easy for me to get into those old graphics because my mind is just upgrading them, right? But not everybody's brain is kind of doing that. And then I'd say I found Morrowind more immersive than Oblivion because I had to pay attention to landmarks and use that to find my way around the landscape in it, as opposed to having like a compass and a radar that's just like a crazy taxi arrow, and it's like, hey, go here, go here, go here, and then I can disengage and I don't have to be as involved, and that's less immersive for me. But you know, a lot of people, if something's too hardcore, you're not going to engage a particular set of people, and if something's too softcore, right, you're not going to engage a particular set of people. So it's a scale, and it really varies. So I don't know. I guess I just kind of use myself for the barometer as far as like what I think engaging is, and then maybe try to expand a little bit from that to see who I could get without losing the vision. Oh, latency didn't get you there close enough. Consequences of your actions make sense in the game world. For some people, but if the game world is ugly, they can't even engage with it, right? They're just like, my actions matter, but it's ugly. I mean, consequences matter to, well, it depends on the logic of that game world and the expectation it's built for me. If this is a game world where I feel like your I mean, yeah, it could be either way, right? If your consequences should matter, that could be pretty engaging. But a game world where my consequences don't matter, I could still engage with if I'm participating for different reasons, right? Elite hacker, run around shooting people, just walking around killing entire gangs. Everyone treats you like a naive hacker. I mean, yeah, I could do that and still be immersed, right? Like, well, because, like, I mean, you know, like, when you get towards games where consequences don't even have actions, right? I mean, wait, actions don't even have consequences, right? Like a game where you're shooting like 1,000 people and just kind of running through a level, right? Or even like a puzzle game where you're just putting the shapes together. You know, like, that can be engaging because, like, you know, like Tetris, I find Tetris pretty engaging because of the particular demand it places on my mind and the reasons and decision makings. But like meaningful decisions, even above consequences, right? I think that blankets and includes consequences. I think meaningful decisions, just in general, whether it's an option select on a dialogue screen, which is like, I think what people immediately think when you say meaningful decisions, or just the fact that how long you hold jump affects the height of your jump. All that matters for immersion and engagement, like if it matters, right? My actions here have meaning. If my actions don't have meaning, that's disengaging, and disengagement isn't immersive, and that puts you towards a movie, which you're looking to engage with in a different fashion. Yeah, but you're never supposed to be those characters, right? You're like, most video games are trying to get you to relate to your characters or one-to-one with them. Civilian that can effortless killing massive groups of people is immersion breaking sometimes. When it breaks its own logic within the game, I mean, it depends on how the rest of the game responds around that. Yeah, the own logic within the game. Like I can ignore that if this is the nature of the world I'm occupying, right? Because I'm kind of accepting that I'm going into a different world. But if they bring that up, or if they don't handle that properly, then like, yeah, that can be a problem. Immersion happens for Moyo when you forget the world you're in isn't real. So it makes it immersive for me, though. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's weird too at the same time because like I'm always kind of 1 foot in and 1 foot out, but it's weird because I'll be like completely immersed, but I think at the same time I'm poking at the ceiling beams and you know, in the scaffolding and things like that, and I'm like, it's almost like there's like I'm playing with 2 brains at once. Because like I'll be playing a horror game or something and it's got my heart rate up and it's stressing me out, right? But at the same time, like I'm actually like admiring the design of how it's set up, and I'm not any less immersed because of it. It's like I never completely forget that I'm engaging in a fantasy, but the fantasy is very easy to let go to. Yeah, and then speaking of setting up an immersion and even still breaking it, like Metal Gear did that, right? Like, where it's like brings your attention to the fact that you're playing the game with a controller, but then uses that, like breaking the fourth wall in a game, right? But then using that to build the game of the world, and then using that to build the connection with the player, because it's really about reaching from you and out to the brain. Metal Gear. Yeah, like anybody who hasn't played Metal Gear, right? Well, slight spoiler, I suppose, but it's 97. It's pretty old now, right? Wait, I can't say that because I play old games I haven't played all the time. But yeah, like you encounter a psychic, and he's like, you know, he's talking about his psychic abilities and how he can do stuff, right? And he's like, watch this. I can move the controller with your mind, right? Or with my mind. It's like, put your controller on the ground. Okay, now I'm going to move it now. And like he shakes the rumble pack, and so the controller moves, and he reads your memory card and tells you like what games you've been playing by the same company. And you know, I mean, I think technically that would be immersion breaking if you're thinking about immersion in the sense of like, I've brought you into this game world and I never want you to leave. But I think the way it uses it is more immersive because it's kind of like reaching out of the television and strengthening that mind link between the player and the game. And I think that's where the immersion really comes from. Mind and heart, like emotions. And as long as you kind of have that connection, you're forming the emotion. It's like when your Tetris blocks fill up to the lip, and then you're about to like lose out, and it's gonna be game over. You know, if you're excited or you have to try to remain calm to handle that, you know, they've got your emotions. So the emotions you're emotionally immersed. Yeah, the shared of real and unreal. Because it's kind of like the internet is kind of very real these days, right? And we didn't always have someplace like this connecting it all together. where what happens in the digital space, we're all real people interacting in an idea. But the interactions matter and can have consequences in our real world spaces, and it's like this is pretty immersive because it matters.